you think that the kind of model that was created for the search, there is, well, you don't have a price table, you have some kind of auction, and, well, you pay what is the right price or the market price. Do you think that is going to be some kind of reference for from now to the future for advertising?
I think that without a doubt that there are going to be online auctions and exchanges for many media, and when I say many media, I think that within television, for instance, a lot of inventory will be purchased via auction, and certainly via exchanges. So I think that's going to be a very important shift, and that will fundamentally change one of the reasons that will fundamentally change how we plan and buy media. I think that there will still be bespoke buys within the most important content. But then again, if you think of a Super Bowl final or a Copa America or whatever, ultimately they could be bought by auction for the highest bidder. I think that content owners will try and keep their most prized assets and sell them differently, because one of the things that I think is most important for the content owners is to be able to leverage it across platform. So, and that then becomes much more difficult to book by auction. So, if you think of, great pieces of content now, those great pieces of content, if they're on television, they're events that run on television, that are online, that are on mobile, that have tertiary events around them, and how do brands and how do content owners leverage across all those different platforms to create a total experience. So I think there's going to be, for great content and most valuable content, that's going to become much more complex. For the long tail of content, that's probably almost all going to be bought by electronic auction.
Well, let's just get one small example on that. If you think about the 30-second spot that goes on the TV, now it can go on the YouTube. The big difference is that when it goes on the interval on the TV, it's an interruption model. Yeah. And when it's there and you can click if you choose, you are choosing to watch that. Yeah. What is more valuable?
That's a very interesting question. I always think of it as I call it the egg timer. If you actually think of the traditional model of mass marketing and mass media, is that what you have is you have one piece of content, right, which is simultaneously broadcast out to a lot of people who may or may not see it. It's just sent out, boom, and you have no idea whether someone's seen it, whether they've paid attention to it or whatever. If you take the YouTube example, what you have is millions and millions and millions of pieces of content that are available to one person who then pulls it down. So if you think of it, it's a little bit like that. It's the inverse. The broadcast media still have a value if you need to reach a lot of people very, very quickly and get a message out there. Because actually, that reach and frequency, for instance, for a product launch, actually can be very important. On the other hand, individually, the fact that someone has chosen to pull it down and watch it, or actually, even more importantly, someone has sent them a link and said, you've got to watch this. We know that people then will watch that, and they'll watch it intently, and they can then actually forward that on again, and that's when you come back to the viral and the propaganda. So I think on an individual impact basis, watching it and choosing to watch it is more valuable, but there is definitely still a role for being able to reach large numbers of people through that broadcast medium. It's just that the dominance of broadcast and interruption as a model is dead.
And there is something else. You can combine both expositions.
Absolutely.
That could be media driven and that could be on demand for people.
Absolutely. And again, one of the things that I really do believe though is that we have to think about using digital and in relation to content, in relation to messaging, to its fullest extent. Because what are people, how do you build in interactivity? How do you build in participation into that content? Because we actually have the availability and the tools and capability to do that. So just taking a 30-second ad and putting it on YouTube is one way of, it's an additional piece of distribution for that content, but it's not using the medium to its full value. But if you have the 30-second spot, and then you have something that is adapted for a digital environment and a pull-down environment, and actually expands that message, then I think that you're beginning to actually use them in a very complementary way that plays to the strengths of both different types of media. So I think they should work together, and of course they should work together with search, and they should work together with mobile, and all the different media should work together in an on-demand or in a push way.
Nigel, thanks for talking to us. It was great talking about all that, and it was a big pleasure having you here.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be in Sao Paulo, in Brazil. It's a very vibrant market. It's a very creative market. I think there's a lot of interesting things happening, especially in social networking. A lot of the people around the world are really interested in what's happening in Brazil, and it's great to exchange some thoughts and some ideas. Thank you.